Mama. I'm Courtney Cecil, proud mom of two boys and an organizational culture and behavior change executive. And I'm a believer in building a movement to help the burned out, overwhelmed working moms reclaim their control and free time so that they can confidently remain in the workforce without losing the sanity or themselves. Now, let's get started.
Hey y'all, I'm your host, Courtney Cecil, and welcome back to another episode of the Life Management System for Working Moms. And inside this episode, I am so excited to host Laura Young. So Laura is not only a dear friend of mine, but she's also my personal business partner in planning luxury retreats for the ambitious working mom. So Laura, welcome to the Life Management System.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, well, before we get started with the questions that I would love to walk you through regarding travel, just in general for moms and women and in our retreat specifically, can you just talk to the audience quickly about who you are as a person and what your brief history is?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I am a mom and a wife. I am a former and still recovering corporate financial executive. I worked in financial services for over 22 years and just recently left it all behind me. About a year ago, I started a luxury travel business focused on helping working moms because that's who I am and that's who I get. And that's who I know needs a vacation and an experience and an escape more than anyone. So now I do that full time.
Perfect. Well, I am glad that our financial service paths brought us together, Laura.
Yes.
And when you say that you just recently left, I think it's important to punctuate that. Like she literally just recently left. I literally just this week left.
Yeah.
So this is a very new adventure for both of us. Both our business, our investing fully in our businesses and supporting working moms, but also this retreat, which we'll talk more in a bit. But before we get into that, you've planned a lot of trips for moms already. As you indicated,
Yeah.
this is not, you didn't just leave corporate and start. This is something you've been investing in for some time. Let's zoom out a little bit and talk
Yeah.
about your travel, your experience just working with families and specifically women regarding travel. First and foremost, as a prolific traveler yourself, what are some of your top tricks to ensure that travel actually feels like more of a vacation and as smooth as possible when you're traveling with kids?
Well, first and foremost, I think you have to sort of throw your expectations a little bit out the window when traveling with kids. Kids are unexpected sometimes, they're unpredictable. We're unsure how they're going to feel a certain day, just like us. Sometimes you wake up and you don't feel great. So try to sort of lower your expectations and know that it your day could go one way or another and you just sort of need to go with the flow. So I remind them that a lot when I'm planning trips for moms. My second big tip for traveling with kids is don't overbook yourself. I find that kids need some freedom to just relax and play. And sometimes their best moments on vacation, I know my kids, is not the time that we had planned or we had an activity or a tour, but when we just like ended up in the park hanging out or doing something chill. So I really try when I'm working with my mom clients not to overbook them. And then I'd say let your kids be self-sufficient if it's age appropriate for them. Like my kids, I have 3 kids now, they're 13, 9, and 6. And I try to let them do as much as they can themselves, right? Carry a backpack, hold their own water, keep their own snacks, try to let them do things on their own. I feel like they're a little bit happier that way. And it takes some of the pressure off me when they can do for themselves.
I love that.
Yeah.
And somebody told me once, it gave me a really solid piece of advice around letting your kids actually do some of the navigating as well, which is not quite the same as like quite physically giving a hand, which you're
Yeah.
talking about. But I thought that was genius because it also gives them a vested interest in proving their independence when
Yeah.
they get to be the one that figures out how to exit an airport, or they get to be the one to find the subway stop. And I thought that that is just a very astute way of engaging them and empowering them and
Yeah.
probably making them more self-sufficient as they, just their ability to navigate in a completely different way.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. We were recently in Iceland and my oldest, like once we got to know the town a little bit, we would let him take the younger kids and they went to a soccer field together and they felt so good about themselves to be able to like in a new place in a new country go and and be independent and feel empowered. My kids love that. That's a great advice.
My house manager told me yesterday, legit just yesterday, that when she was 8 years old, her parents, they had just migrated 2 years before that from India and were living in San Francisco. Her parents, kid you not, put her on a plane from San Francisco to New Delhi and then had to navigate from New Delhi the train system to go to the small town where she grew up. And I was like, oh my gosh, like as an 8-year-old, I'm having a panic attack
Yeah.
for her. I don't
Yeah.
know if like that feels very extreme to me, but
Yeah.
like no better way to teach somebody
Yeah.
to hold their shoulders back than really letting them have that level of autonomy. And I
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
just appreciate the guidance you said around not over packing agendas. When we
Mm.
took the boys, they were 6 and 8 to Copenhagen, Berlin, and a lot of other Northwest Germany. And if it wasn't for knowing that we had at least, the back half to third of the day open, we would have all burned out.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just
And
not worth
sometimes
it.
it's those open times where you like stumble upon an amazing restaurant or like a hidden gem that you might not if you didn't have
Yeah.
that free time to sort of explore on your own. Kids
Yep.
love
Yep.
exploration. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as do most of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you planned a lot of trips, a whole lot of
Yes.
trips. What do you wish more moms in general would give themselves permission to do?
I remind myself of this all the time, and I remind the moms I work with is to let go of control. I find when working with moms on a trip, they are so inclined to do everything themselves that they have trouble like just letting me do my job and giving them the gift of a trip where they didn't have to plan everything. Right. I'll have moms come to me and they're like, I made a spreadsheet of everything. And I'm like, no, I was going to do that for you. Like, please let me do that. And it's hard for me sometimes to let go because I have a way I like to do things. And so I wish that they would let go of that control and just really allow themselves to be taken care of, because that's the whole reason I started my business as a luxury travel advisor, is to give them the gift of time back and of energy filled experiences and trips with their families. And if they don't allow me to do that, then it's not going to be the same. So I would just encourage them to let go of that control.
I will say that there is nothing that makes me happier than being the passenger princess and knowing that somebody else has like fully thought of everything for
Yeah.
me. And most especially somebody that I know that I can trust to do it. And
Yeah.
that for moms, for a lot of moms, it's not necessarily that they need to do the controlling as much as they need to have confidence that
Yeah.
it's in control. And that is
Right.
really what you bring, is that level of confidence that it
Yeah.
is in control.
Right. Yeah, I've got it handled for you. And it
Yeah.
is uncomfortable if you're not used to allowing someone else to do something for you or to delegate tasks to someone else. It's uncomfortable. So I try really hard to build that trust with the moms that I work with, so they know, like, I got you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure like your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed.
So
Yeah.
for somebody that's never worked with a travel advisor before, Laura, briefly walk us through what the scope of that relationship really looks like, because that might also help people appreciate why it's worth investing in one and what that investment it looks like, but also what they can, like the breadth of things they can let go of.
Yeah. I mean, they can literally hand over the entire trip to me and I can white glove service for them the trip from start to finish. So it starts where we meet and get to know each other. We talk, I get to really ask you questions to get to know you, because my job is to understand you as my client so that I can deliver what matters to you, because everyone's different. No two trips look the same. So we meet together and start building that relationship so I can get to know you and your preferences and your budget and your travel style. And then we work together all the way until it's time to actually travel, and then post travel. So I'm really there throughout the entire experience, from getting to know you, from booking your trip, from concierge services. If you want restaurant reservations taken care of, spa reservations, tours, activities, transfers, you can literally just show up and everything is done for you. And then I really always try to connect with my clients post-trip to say, how did it go? What could have been done better? Is there something that you would have liked to know ahead of the trip that I didn't tell you that I can learn from for next time, so I can make sure that we're continuing to build a relationship? It's not just one time, right? Most people are vacationing regularly. Even if it's not maybe as frequently as I'm traveling, or maybe you're traveling, like people are still going regularly. So I want to get to know you for the long term. So each trip can get even better because I know those like nuances of what is important to them.
You and I don't have a problem investing in ourselves.
We don't.
You're right. I mean, I think just in the short time since we have met, you've taken 3 massive trips or no, 4, because you've done South Africa, you've done London, you've done Iceland, you've done France.
Correct.
I have booked Croatia, Montenegro, Bosnia, and St. John. So clearly you and I don't have problems investing in ourselves,
No.
but so many moms do. So,
Yeah.
what's your take on why they might not, or why you think it's important for working moms, especially that really
Yeah.
are balancing 2 jobs, to take time for themselves?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't always this great at investing in myself. It's not something that like I just had my first kid and I was like just continued my life and vacationed and did things for myself all the time. I I think you have to sort of adjust your mindset. When you have a kid, your life is different and it's going to look a little bit different, but that doesn't mean you need to stop investing in yourself or taking time for yourself. You actually probably need it more intentionally now than you did before, because it was easy to do something last minute or do something from yourself before because you didn't have as many responsibilities and you didn't have a kid to keep alive. And so moms are constantly giving to their partner, to their family, to their job, to their friends, to their house. Like moms are great at giving energy to other people, but you've got to give it back to yourself before you get in the red zone. Like you can't do it when you've already like the alarm's going off and you're like really struggling. I think it's important to do it regularly to keep yourself like closer to the full mark. It matters so much. And I know so many moms that when they finally do something for themselves, they're like, "Oh, why did I wait so long?" And so I try to encourage them not to. Like, you're not going to regret investing in yourself. No one's ever said, "Well, I wish I wouldn't have done that." They
Yeah,
say, "I wish I would have
I
done
wish
it
I wouldn't have taken
sooner."
that trip. That was a
Yeah,
terrible
nobody
idea.
says that. Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody says that.
What I've experienced with so many of my clients is that they don't even invest in themselves in the basics. Like I am begging a couple of them to just take a 10-minute walk a day.
Yeah.
And even that's hard because they feel so pulled to the day-to-day grind. But if you don't intentionally plan time for yourself, a year will pass and you'll be like, well, crap. The only vacation I took was to take my kid to their dentist appointment.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
or to stay home and wrap all of these Christmas gifts that were,
Yeah.
when my kids were at school, or just something that is not at all for them and is always for somebody else. And that just,
Yeah.
it makes me sad. And it is also part of, I think, what like pulled us to planning
Mhm.
a retreat together, where
Yeah.
one where we are encouraging people to take this as the opportunity and the excuse that they've been looking for to invest in
Yes.
themselves. So let's take
100%.
this conversation and pivot that direction, Laura. And I clearly know the answers to these questions, and yet I'm so excited to hear you give the voiceover on them.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a retreat. What's the name, and why was that an intentional part of what we are curate, or the experience we're trying to curate here?
Yeah. So our retreat is Retreat Yourself, Luxury Girls Trip 2026. So February 5th through the 8th of next year. And um, the in retreat is really focused on resetting, reconnecting, reclaiming, right? There's so many R words. A lot of my marketing for my moms and my travel business is those same things, reconnecting, like remembering who you are. And I think kind of what I alluded to before, I think as a mom, when you go from not having kids to having kids, you have this new identity. And so you might have known who you were before, or you might have had connections with your partner that were one thing. And this is an opportunity to redo some things and like reinvest in yourself, right? You're a different person now. And that's part of the beauty of life, is that you can evolve and grow and change who you are. And it's true that you change when you're a mom. And so this allows you to say, like, who am I now? Kind of remind you, like, what do I love about myself? Who am I now that I have all of these other identities? And so it's really a play on that, and just really giving into yourself. I'm super excited about it. I haven't had this much energy. I've taken a lot of trips like you've talked about, but I'm maybe most excited about this retreat, because I know that the moms out there really need this, and I need this, and I'm super excited for us to share it.
Yeah, knowing all the trade secrets of what we have planned, am swimming in that same like geeking out energy.
Yeah.
I really believe that this will bring people both together and as part of the sisterhood, that will make them feel more connected, but also more connected with themselves, like really
Yes.
leaning into that space of reclaiming who they are, and just being able to walk out of there with absolute confidence of what 2026 should look like for them. And
Yeah.
I think that's really cool too. So when you think about some of the bigger themes and the experience we're trying to create on this retreat, how would you describe those?
Yeah, well, we put luxury for a reason, right? And luxury is different. I learned that planning trips, like, luxury means different things to different people. But to me, and what I think it means to you, when we're trying to really get across to these moms, is like, you're going to be taken care of. Like, we've got you covered. You're going to show up and just get to sort of exhale and be able to have everything planned for you. Um, it's really an ability to pause and reflect, right? I think any amount of time for yourself is like, good job. You need that. Like, yesterday, I just drove around for 2 hours and listened to a podcast. And sometimes taking time for yourself looks like that. But I believe it's important to be intentional about taking longer time for yourself, so that you really can, like, have some space in your head to be quiet and to think and to reflect. So we really want to do that. And then, like you mentioned, like, a connection and a sisterhood. Um, it's so great to meet other people who are in your same boat, so you don't feel alone. Like, it's really hard to feel isolated and like, am I the only one going through this? And it will allow you to have a community of people who are also in it with you, and that feels really good. So that connection is another big part of the retreat and that weekend.
And probably the part that I am most excited about.
Yeah.
But also, apropos to this conversation, Laura and I just got off a call with the head of wellness retreats it's a newly appointed position, a newly appointed leader, and she's actually been in the role for a week. But I think it's also worth punctuating here that it's an oceanfront resort. It's a brand new resort. It is only a year old. All of the rooms have ocean front or ocean views, and it's the biggest spa in Florida. There are 4 floors of spa. Like,
Yeah.
this was
Massive.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I think about the timing specifically, there were a couple of reasons that we
Yeah.
chose February when we did. But what do you believe makes that timing really kind of serendipitous to the experience we're trying to create?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not particularly one for like New Year's resolutions. In my mind, like, the winter is the time to hibernate and to sort of reflect. So I've sort of thrown New Year's out the window, and I really think more about, like, seasonally. That winter is that time where we're sort of quiet down. There's less activities. It gives us time to really, like, pause and reflect on our lives and who we are, and set intention. And so we're sort of doing that towards the end of that time, towards the end of the winter. And then you're sort of going into that springtime, when we're back outside, we're living our lives, things get busy, and you have tools that you can now take on, this wild ride of spring and kids and school and sports and work. And you have ways to tackle that. with intention. So I think it's just a great time of year to do it, going into spring. So I think it's going to be awesome. And there's less activities that time of year. So there's no excuses not to come. February is a down month. So we really wanted to make it attainable for as many people as possible.
Yeah. Which is why we decided to do this domestic. Like one of these days,
Yeah.
we're gonna do something baller somewhere else, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
As good as this one though. And I love that we have specifically chosen Florida, like South Florida, where in the gray, gloomy February skies, people are able to go and get sunshine. I mean, it is just
Yeah.
peak weather in
That's
South
right.
Florida at that time.
Yeah. It's always sunny
Um,
there.
so when you like put yourself in the mind of a mom who is thinking about coming, what do you expect them to experience and feel when they walk into the resort? And what about when they fly home? Like, what's the entry point and
Yeah.
what's the exit point for them?
Yeah. I love this question. And I ask all of my clients that, like, what is the feeling you want a trip to give you? Because it's important because people are looking for different feelings when they come. But I think I said exhale before, but when they arrive, like I want them to sort of, like feel like light and relaxed and excited, like, and really proud of themselves that they took the time, and they made the investment in themselves to come and to show up. Um, and I want them to leave feeling connected, to feel empowered, to have, again, tools to take into their day-to-day life so that they feel like they can tackle it in a better way, in a more productive way, right? And then when the moms are leaving, I want them to feel truly like the R words, right? Reset. They have reclaimed their power, they have reclaimed themselves, and they are ready to go back into the world and tackle it.
I personally am just as excited for that, but
Yeah.
I really am anxious for the women who attend and are able to experience exactly what you just described, Laura.
Yeah.
If anybody is interested, I will include the registration link in the show notes. So would love
Yeah.
for you to check it out. If you are on the fence, please message Laura or me. I will also include her contact information. So please reach out to one of us. We would love to talk you through the experience. You can get more about what the detailed agenda looks like and
Yeah.
more about the resort and that sort of thing on the retreat link. So check that out in the show notes. Okay, Laura, let's pivot to wrap
Okay.
up to the lightning round questions, which I ask any guest who attends the Life Management System podcast. So the first is, what is your go-to stress busting activity?
Hands down, boot camp. I go to boot camp every single morning. It is a community of strong women who push themselves physically. And I'm obsessed with going. And then a close follow would be baking. Got to balance it out. I love baking. I made cookie bars last night. It's just a great place for me to
I mean,
be in my
truly, you're
head.
going to boot camp in order to be able to indulge in the cookie
Don't mind if I do. Yeah.
Okay, what's the last book or podcast you loved?
I'm going to pick two. One is one of my favorite authors' name is Rob Bell. And as I've transitioned out of this corporate life into a full-time entrepreneur and mom, it's pretty uncomfortable. And so he wrote a book called The Feisty and Sobering Guide to Doing What You Love and Also Somehow Paying the Bills. So it's quite a long title, but it was just a beautiful book to really help put words to how I was feeling through this big life transition, and that it's possible to do what you love and still be okay. Um, I highly recommend it to anyone who's feeling a little uncomfortable in their life and looking to do something different.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then if you could wave a magic wand, what task would you eliminate forever?
Grocery shopping. I
Oh,
loathe it. Instacart is my BFF,
yeah.
and I mostly never go. But every time that I do, when I like just need something last minute, I just cringe. I can't stand it.
Yeah, I think I've been to the grocery store maybe twice in a year.
Yeah.
I likewise. It just doesn't feel like my highest and best use of
Nope,
time.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then last question, how do people reach you?
Yeah. The best place to find me is probably on Instagram or on my website, laurayoungtravel.com. My handle on Instagram is at laurayoungtravel. I would love to connect with you and talk to you. If you have questions about the retreat, like Courtney said, like let's chat about it. Like I don't just have to be a face behind an email. Like if you want to get on the phone and talk through it or need information, I would love to connect with you.
Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
Laura, thank you for being here. Friends, thank you for tuning in. Small business is hard. It is very humbling. It is a grind and a hustle to get this off the ground. As Laura shared earlier, both of us are just starting out, like really diving all in, taking a big risk, leaving corporate. So if you can do us a solid, if you haven't followed us on Instagram, please do that. At least it'll give us an excuse to engage with you more.
Right.
If you have tuned in to 2 or more of these episodes, then it's telling me you're getting something here. So I would be so grateful if you share it with a friend or you subscribe to it, rate and review. That would mean all the difference and help me get some lift here. But until next time, if nobody's told you lately, you're doing a great job. You've got this, Mama.